crawled as fast as I could and as low as I could. And there I waited. And I waited, and I heard the sounds of sirens finally coming. But over the sirens were, I couldn't even tell you how many gunshots that day. And I can't attest to what other people went through, because while trying to keep myself alive, I was unaware of pretty much everything that was going on behind me. No idea. The whole time I thought it was just me and Farrah that had been shot. And I remember watching the minutes tick by, and finally being rescued by my guys. And I remember them dragging me to the MRAP at the time and loading me on the back, and I just remember collapsing on top of one of my guys. And I think about how he went home at the end of that day with my blood soaked in his uniform. But they managed to get me and Farrah, and I remember them bringing us back to somewhere, but I don't know at that point. I was in and out of consciousness. And I distinctly remember them discussing who was going to get the stretcher on the ambulance, because there was only one ambulance at that point that I knew of, and for some reason they decided I got the stretcher, because I was worse off, and I was okay with that, honestly. And I thought it was just the two of us at that point. And I remember going to the hospital and them saying we're going to Carolinas, and no offense to those who worked at Carolinas at the point, but I immediately thought, this is it, I'm definitely dying. Sorry. The whole ambulance ride, apparently I was in and out of consciousness because the EMS worker kept telling me to open my eyes and to stay with him. And in my mind I thought, I'm here, like, can you not see it? But I guess I couldn't. So I remember getting to the hospital, vaguely being rolled off the ambulance into the ER, and then that was it. 11 days later, I woke up after being on the vent for 8 days, unconscious for 3 days after that. And in mass confusion, upon waking up and coming off of all the narcotics they'd given me, I didn't want to know what my injuries were. I was scared to look at myself. I had the nurses to block my view anytime they had to do anything. And it wasn't until not long before I left the hospital that I discovered exactly the extent of everything. Was that when his very first shot was the one that hit me, and it entered and it fractured, and it hit my small intestine, my large intestine, it hit my stomach, it fractured my diaphragm, it caused 3 lacerations to my lower left lung, and it blew out a section of my ribs. In the hospital, I woke up and I had a wound vac, and I don't know if you know what that is or if you've ever experienced it, but it's hell, is what it is, because they stuff you with styrofoam and pretty much vacuum seal your wound closed, and every 2 to 3 days they have to rip it back open and rip the styrofoam out of your stomach and redo it. I had that wound back for almost 2 months. And on top of that, I ended up being a 30-year-old female with a colostomy bag for 4 months.